A very good morning to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Sports Check on this first Monday of December 2021. And it is a day when we've got the border sector reforms. They're being discussed at the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, and the Permanent Secretary in State Department for the Interior and Dr. Engineer Karanja Kibicho is going to be addressing. That is a chief guest, so that's one of the stories that we will be keeping tabs on. And also remember a sad incident that happened on Saturday when we saw a bus plunge into a river, and we've lost 30 Kenyans so far. It is a sad day out there in Wingi. So that's another story that's developing and we will be keeping up with. Well, also remember on Monday, it's Sports Check and conversations around sports. Well, asking why don't I have that high seat? This is because I'll be speaking with some siblings. One's 9 years old, the other's 11, and they are national champions in the Kenya National Autocross Championship. And it's been a weekend where Kenya were in Dubai for the World Rugby 7 Series. It was the second leg, Kenya finishing 6th, and also the Kenya Cup is back. Plus, there is also an involvement of women in 15s rugby after Kenya failed to qualify for the World Cup repechage. Just by a narrow margin against Colombia, it was asked, do we have the women playing more of the 15th game? We'll be joined by Michael Kwambo to speak about that. And later, John Agrutieno and Gregory Mulemi will be telling us about the CAF Confederation Cup, the FKF Premier League, and with referees now in the national leagues being paid by the caretaker committee, and the pay is the same. A referee is a referee. The gender does not matter. Plus also all that's been happening in the world of football. All that over the next 2 hours. Our Twitter handle is KBC Channel 1, and remember the hashtag is SportsCheck KBC. Now, let's get into our first conversation, and it is about Autocross. This is circuit running where you run on a track, the distance is there, you can compete at 2 cars, and there are different classes. But we've got the first Kenyan girl to win the Pee-wee class, and her name is Kiana Rajput, and also a 3-time national champion, her brother Yuvraj Rajput. The father has also been a national champion in the Autocross, Kirit Rajput. How has this rubbed off onto the family? Why don't we now turn and get to welcome Kirit Rajput children, Kiana Rajput and Yuvraj Rajput. They've got their buggy with us in studio, and you're welcome, Kiana and Yuvraj. You can rev up and walk and reverse right here to the set. You can help your sister out. Yes. Thank you, Nelson. Good. Good. You can put it off and welcome. Well, this is a Pee-wee class buggy, and this is the one that is driven by Kiana Rajput. You can now get rid of your helmets, at least so that we can identify you. Helmet off first. Kiana, welcome. And welcome to KBC, the fist bump. Have a seat. Kiana Rajput is 9 years old, and she is the national autocross champion for the Pee-wee class. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes. And her brother also, his name is Yuvraj. He's going to be joining us in a short while. Kiana, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
What's it been like for you as an autocross driver? Where did it start?
So it started all the way in 2018. So I started as doing go-karting, and then I was champion for 2 years. I did 2 years in 2 years in go-karting and 2 years in autocross.
How old were you when you started go-karting?
I started practicing when I was 4, and I raced when I was 5.
So, and then winning that championship, what is it like for you? Actually, well, and we're joined by Yuvraj, like cover, but anyway, welcome. Can have a seat. Yuvraj, hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Very well, and congratulations on winning your Bambino class.
Thank you.
We'll be talking about it. So, at the age of 5, you started racing?
Yes. So I started by go-karting, So my other brother used to race with me, and he always used to win. So I came second in the championship until we started doing autocross, and then I was competing alone until Eric Bengi's son joined. And it was a bit tough for me, but I managed to win the championship.
We'll be talking about that, including, that I know you did not participate in the fun race, but I know there's some places where you really loved.
Yeah.
And let's now move to your brother, Yuvraj. And with winning this Bambino class in a season that you'd say has finishing second twice, for you, what's the feeling of winning another championship?
Well, I'm very amazed. I'm very blessed to win another championship. Of course, I couldn't have done this without my mechanic Chris, my dad Nikhil Rajput, and my team manager Wayne Fernandez.
What's your journey in racing?
So hopefully,
When I started,
I'd always look up to my dad and my older cousins. They used to race. So I initially joined karting at the age of 5. And I just built up the confidence of speed, and I won 2 Kenya national karting championships, and this is my second Bambino championship.
So for you, if we were to start with you, when the last year, I know was a year where everything was disrupted in March, what was your experience? How did you work around to make sure that you didn't lose your skill?
Okay, well, obviously it was tough with the COVID-19, but we managed to fight through it, and overall it wasn't the best season, but we still had fun.
And for you, what was it like? Because you were having lots of fun, in the season.
So I could drive. It was very fun because even if I was doing like a Sunday drive or something, I would still beat someone because nobody was in my class then. So, but during last season, it was very hard, and because of the coronavirus. But luckily, we're very happy this year that we managed to do it.
Let's see how it all started for you this season. For you, I'll start with you, Kiana. You were all alone for the first 3 races, but when you got to the current waterfront and that track, what was the excitement of knowing that I can now race again?
So I was very excited because I hadn't done it in a long time due to the coronavirus. But I was very happy, and when I sat in my buggy the first time during that season, I knew that I could do it during the whole season.
20 points, and for you, you were racing at Yuvraj.
Yes.
You were racing mainly against Keanu Rajput.
Yes.
So, what was the opening event for you?
Of course, it was really fun. I felt so happy to get back in my buggy and race. And I enjoyed, and I won it.
What did you find about that track that was different from, say, Jamhuri or...
Okay, so we call it Mickey Mouse. So Mickey
Why?
Mouse, it's basically very tight, no straight, just twisty. And I don't enjoy tracks like that in a big buggy. But of course it's challenging, and it makes you go faster. And it makes you beat your time, and it's very encouraging.
Tell us about how you adapt for a buggy that's bigger than the one that we're seeing here that your sister uses. How different then is it to maneuver your buggy?
Okay, so I just moved into a 2-wheel drive non-turbo class. It's running 1,500 cc manual. So this one is 100
device for millennials.
So this one is 170. So mine's 1,500 more than this. It's very challenging, but it's really fun. I've always wanted to be in a faster buggy, and I look forward to entering next season.
So for you, from the first event, what were the things that you decided that you're going to learn? Already you picked up the 22 points as the winner of that Autocross 1. What were the things for you?
So I would always want to learn like my lines, to be clean, not to be too aggressive, and just to be smooth with the brake and accelerator.
And for you, what was the first lesson for the opening leg?
So the lesson was that like it was a bit challenging, but obviously I managed to do it. And the first time when I heard that someone was gonna join my team, like Pee-wee class, I was a bit nervous because I've never had someone compete with me until my brother left. So it was very challenging, but I got through it.
When you moved to the second event, this was organized by the Raleigh Sports Club. In between their events, how then do you pick the lessons learned from one event to another? How do you train?
Okay, so
how often?
of course, with our buggies, we never got the time to train because of this COVID. No places were open. But now this season with our new buggies, Kiana has a new buggy. I passed on my 500cc Magi bug to her, and I got my 1500cc. So of course we'll need to be practicing because we're moving on to faster cars. So there'll be more practicing this year.
Where do you practice normally?
So I normally practice at this place called Jamhuri Park. It's next to Gong Racecourse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next to the showground?
Yes.
How do you find that track?
It's really interesting because sometimes it's like 5 tracks in one track. So let's say one day they have a track where it's straight and over the bridge and under the bridge.
Yes.
Then another time they have going it backwards, right? Then another time they change the tapes, the corners and everything. It's just fun. It's very confusing and fun at the same time. But the best thing I like about the track is that the jump and the bridge.
The Jamhuri track, what do you like about it?
Jamhuri Park is very interesting. I like going on the hills. Obviously, they keep on doing anti-clockwise and clockwise. So I like clockwise better because I like going up the hill because there's a little corner there that I don't like going. It's very fun and interesting because sometimes they do it anti-clockwise, which I really don't really like, but
that's the one. I mean, the anti-clockwise is what they do normally for rallying.
Yes.
Yeah. So my favorite track is the Jamhuri Park.
Then there were some new tracks that this one's brand new. Was organized by the West Kenya Motorsports Club.
Yeah.
This was in Eldoret.
Yes.
Dusty and with crowds. What was your experience there?
So, my team manager, Wayne Fernandez, he's a homeboy there. So, it was really fun also for him to race at his home track. And he drove really well. And it was really nice because it was really dusty and the corners were very twisty. Like if you could show some footage of my dad, he was sliding everywhere, but he was keeping it clean. And yeah, overall it was really dusty and fun weekend.
How did you find that track?
As he said, it was very dusty track, and it was a very long and nice track, smooth track, but very dusty. So it was like a long straight. So I liked it a lot because but the dust kept on coming in my eyes and I kept on losing control, but I managed that race.
How then have you probably just looked at how to keep your eyes, look for goggles or something?
So as you can see over here, the visor. So sometimes this is actually like you can see through it, right? So it helps the dust not go through your eyes. But sometimes if you need to keep it open, like if, for example, mud goes in it, then you just need to quickly clean it with your gloves and then put it back on. Then no dust will come in your eyes.
But there is one event, actually, before Eldoret, there was the event that was organized at the WRC track at Kasarani. It was wet.
Okay, so...
Okay, you let your sister go fast. Looks like you're very excited about that one. Tell us how you went, because you did one heat less because of the number of entries.
So, it's a very nice track, I can say that, because it was very muddy that time, so all the corners and all those were a bit hard, but I managed because I just went through it smoothly. And since there were just so many cars, I could only do a few heats, and it was just too muddy. I kept on getting stuck.
What happens in that case when you get stuck?
So sometimes when you get stuck and sometimes you have to try and get yourself like accelerate your way out, but sometimes a car comes with a tow rope and just pulls you out.
Were you pulled out at the first heat or the second?
I don't remember.
All right.
So
Yuvraj.
okay, so this weekend we also had to Jamhuri Park, which was very difficult. I think you guys are showing it right now.
Yes, that was it was quite muddy. Yes,
Yeah,
it's the one that's on screen.
Yeah, so luckily I have mud tires on my buggy, so I wasn't pulled out. I was beating turbo buggies in a 500cc buggy, and overall I came 6th overall. Yeah, I beat a rage buggy.
And what about Kasarani? How did you find that track?
Kasarani was really interesting. Because of the WRC, and at home I've always been playing it on my PS5 on WRC 9, because it has Kasarani. So I've always been practicing, learning my lines, and to be privileged to drive on a WRC track is just amazing. I loved it, but unfortunately we had to do one loop. I just wish next time we can do the full lap.
Well, the whole thing is Kasarani is built for side-by-side racing. How do you respond to such a scenario?
Well, Autocross is side-by-side racing.
Yes.
So I find
for her.
except for her, not anymore. But I find it really fun because when I used to do karting, it used to be so many of us in a track. It was just carnage. And with this Autocross, so let's say I'm coming under the bridge and the guy is coming over the jump, yeah. So if I come over the bridge faster and he comes slower, that means I have a faster time through the race. So it also makes you know what your time will be.
For you, you've had to drive in mud at the Kasarani track, and also to drive in mud at the Jamhuri track. How has that helped you understand how to maneuver through that? Because I saw some, especially the two-wheel drives, really had some tough times.
Yeah, so it was very muddy in the last race, Jamhuri Park. So we it was very muddy. I broke the gearbox there because of all the mud touching it and stuff. So I could only do one lap. So our team manager Wayne Fernandez had to pull me out because it wouldn't start because the chain fell off, basically, and we had to go. So somebody told us that we can just do the last round if my buggy's fixed. So we took it to the nearest showroom there, and they just melted them together, and I did the last race.
For you, when you get the mud tires as compared to, say, the ordinary gravel tires, how much of a difference does it make to how you handle the car?
That's probably the.
Okay, just lift the mic. You can put it on the chair. Yeah, you can hold it. Yeah.
That's probably the biggest difference, because with no mud tires, we call it slicks. It's just wheel spinning, you don't get anywhere. But with the mud tires, it has studs, like as you see on this Polaris, but mine are way bigger and way sharper. So if you go through mud, it doesn't wheel spin, it just, the studs grabs the mud and it just keeps on going.
So from your experience in driving in mud with the current buggy that you have, a 500cc buggy, how first, and as compared to some of the turbo buggies that you were competing against, do you find your speed and your handling?
Okay, so of course the two-wheel drive turbos, they're putting all their power on their back wheels, so it's wheel spinning and getting stuck. Whereas mine, it doesn't have enough power to do that, so it just goes. That buggy, I've rolled it once, it just stayed, no dent, no nothing, perfect.
And let's now talk about, for you, Kiana, the competition came in. Ian Bengi, son to Eric Bengi, came in, and he joined in towards the end almost towards the end of the season, and he won at the Batian circuit. That was in Nanyuki, organized by the Nanyuki Rally Group. Tell us about that, sunken track that that's about 3 kilometers, and the competition that came from Anne.
So I think that was the first race that I saw him there, that he did with me. So I was a bit nervous, and as I told you before, so it was hard because I didn't know what to do. We didn't practice a lot that time because obviously it was the first race in the season, and all those stuff. Somewhere next to the first season, so I didn't know because I didn't have any competition until I told you my brother left. So I was a bit I didn't know what to do, so I just let him go for that one.
Well, that was the second race against him. You did not enter that, but eventually you won the championship with one leg to go. That was wrapped.
Yeah.
What was it for you?
It was very hard, but I managed. And as I told you, my buggy got spoilt in the last race, so we had to fix it. I was a bit skeptical because I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought I was not going to win anymore because I was looking forward to winning the championship. And I was just a bit skeptical and all those things because I thought I was not going to win, and I was a bit sad because I was really looking forward to it. So, yeah.
So, for you, Yuvraj, let's talk about that final race. You won it, and eventually, and you collected that trophy. What has been the competition from your point of view in the Bambino class?
Okay, so first of all, my buggy. There was a point where it wasn't fixed, I blew the engine, but thankfully to my mechanic, Chris, he worked wonders on that car and he just made it fly, and thanks to him I won the race.
How did you blow the engine?
So it's I've been doing racing with it for 3 years, so it got old, and another challenge is with the sponsors. We would like more sponsors to focus on young stars, and because they will make more value to their company.
I've seen a picture of you on two wheels. How do you like two wheels? So
I'm talking about motorcycles.
It's very fun also. My brother here used to do motocross before in the early days, so I was too small to do it, so I couldn't. So the first time when I found out my dad got me a 550cc one, we went practicing that day, and the first time I drove it, I fell down on my leg, because when people ride something for the first time, they panic and they press the accelerator, and I went into a bush and I hurt my leg. So
I remember that.
So that always happens when they're beginners. So we were planning to start it, but during Corona and all those things, we just said, let's just stick to Autocross.
There's a story that's always told that once you learn how to do the balance on motorcycles on two wheels, then it somehow rubs off when you start driving the four wheels. Have you felt that?
No, not really. Of course, I buy a bike. I think that's the first thing I drove when I was 3 years old. I had a Honda. How much cc was it? Like 30? 30, 45? I'm not sure. But I started riding that, and then it got me the power. It made the fear of speed come out of me. And I remember the first time I rode it, I was riding a quad bike actually. My uncle called Vishal, he had a company called G-Force, and he used to sell quads. So he sold us a quad, and first thing I did was I think if you asked my dad, when I was riding my bike, I went straight into the wall and banged my head, and I was in pain, of course, but my dad was laughing.
I would do the same. So that then what was the story then after with the quads?
Okay, then after that I got a 50cc 50cc KTM. I think it was a 2010. And then after that I had like 3 of them. One was spoiled, one didn't work properly, so we sold those 2, and we got a proper race bike. Then after that we sold it. I think for 2 years I kept begging my dad, please, can I have a 65, can I have a 65, can I have a 65? He got so tired of me. He went to this 10-time, I think 5-time Africa World Champion, Shivam Vinaya.
Shivam, yes.
Yeah.
Dr. Vinayak, yes.
Dr. Vinayak, yes. He sold us. He imported 65cc KTM, 2019. Yeah, and then after that, I just used to ride with my team manager Wayne Fernandez, and we used to go riding to Naivasha, to Lake Naivasha, and yeah, it's just really fun enduro. My dad never wanted us to go to motocross. Motocross, yeah, because he was the fear of breaking bones. He's known people that have were paralyzed from riding motorbikes in motocross. So he didn't want me to go in there because he was scared that I'm gonna go crazy and break something.
Well, he probably knows something, winning the championships and even beating the two-wheel drive buggies. And how did you get the fear of speed out of yourself?
So it just comes by every time you practice, the fear goes away. And every time you practice, you just need to keep on concentrating and learning what's new every day. Every day you practice, learn what's new with the buggy or anything, and trust me, you'll get champion with it.
Are you now planning to move up to Bambino?
And actually next year, I'm gonna be, if I win next year, I'll be 2 times Kenya championship, but I'll move into my brother's Magibug, and yeah.
Which means you're moving up to the Bambino class,
Yeah.
a different class. How have you found your brother's buggy as compared to what you have at the moment right here?
So this one here is much slower than the Magibug. I'm not sure how fast it is and how fast his is. I'll probably know that soon. So I before the race, the last race, which is Jamori Park, we went practicing to Jamori Park before the race. So I rode his buggy, so the Magibug. So it was nice, but it was very muddy actually that time. So I kept on slipping all the place, but I got used to it each round.
Tell us about your Magibug, because it looks like you're getting every technical specification of every equipment you've had out there.
Okay, so you want me to tell you what happened to it all?
No, about the CCs, how it works, and that.
Okay, so my Magibug is a 500cc with a racing exhaust. Actually, no, the Polaris has racing exhaust. So
this is the Polaris.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is a Polaris Azria. So my Magibug is a 500cc, or should I say Kiana's Magibug is a 500cc. We fitted a hydraulic handbrake, which really helped us a lot. But my dad got really mad because I was using it in the mud, and he said I would lose time, so he disconnected it for me. And then we added a cutoff. We have new parts and everything. So yeah, Kiana should have really so much fun in it because we added new parts. Everything is new, and when everything's new, that means faster.
How fast can one push?
I think
On a straight?
on a straight, probably like 85, yeah.
All right. What's the top speed you've hit with the buggy that we have seen here?
I really don't know. I don't keep track on that.
She hit 50 once, and my new one, it actually goes up to 180. Yeah.
And now you'll be moving. It's non-turbo, right?
Yeah, non-turbo.
So you will be up against people like who? Brandon.
Yeah, and Neil Gohill.
And Neil Gohill,
Yeah.
who Brandon won the class this year, the
Yeah.
junior two-wheel drive non-turbo.
Yeah.
How do you assess the competition as you move up the classes?
Okay, well, so I've always looked up to how Neil Gohill drives. He's a really good driver, so I've always wanted to compete with him. Yeah.
Who do you look up to?
I look up to going up to I'm going up to Bambino next year, so I'm gonna compete. I'm gonna be competing with Karamveer Ruprai, and we'll have to be practicing a lot because he is a very fast. He used to compete with UV this season.
And what about the entry of Billy Tundo? We're seeing more second generation drivers coming in.
Okay, so Billy Tundo, the son of Carl Tundo,
Yes.
he entered on his home track, which is not the best day for me. My great grandma actually passed,
Pole.
and I actually won the race for her. But so when Billy Tundo joined, he actually came to ask my mechanic to help him fix his buggy. I don't know what was wrong. Maybe he had a misfire, so it wasn't starting. And then at the end of the day, it managed to start, and I think he came last. I think finished last.
That was his first event. I think that was it I think that's the only event he took part in all season. And what about Aman Ganatra?
Okay, so
you lost to him.
Yeah, he really gave me a run for my money on to see corners. You know, it's his home track, my first time. But the next time he came to my home track and I beat him.
Which event did you enjoy the most?
Probably I have two favorite ones. So the one is Jamhuri Park and the other one is Eldoret.
Tell us what really excited you about those two.
I liked the dust a lot, and I liked how many straight corners they were. And in Jamhuri Park, I liked the hill and going under the hill. Yeah.
And then for you, Yuvraj, let's now talk about your favorite events this season. You mentioned one in Nakuru. You mentioned to me about Nakuru.
Yeah.
What was about that event that was organized by the Rift Valley Motorsports Club?
Oh, it was really fun.
That was in a farm.
Yeah, and but I think that's like my fifth favorite track. My first one is Nanyuki, followed by Kasarani, then Eldoret, then Jamhuri, then the farm.
Why does the farm, get to position 5?
I just didn't enjoy that day too much. Yeah, I wasn't in the best mood.
You've spoken about Nanyuki. I've seen rallying action there where the drivers drive through it, smack in the middle of the bush, the spectators up there.
Yeah.
What's it about the Nanyuki track that you loved?
Okay, so there's this corner I really like. I always use my hydraulic handbrake and I take it so nicely. There are a lot of straights which I really like the corner, and it's just interesting as when you're racing, you can literally see Mount Kenya.
Yes.
Yeah, well, and you're racing in Mount Kenya. That's just a beautiful view.
For you, eventually, as you grow through the ranks, where do you want to go? Would you want to, for example, for a start, emulate your father who's won an open class before?
Yeah. I'll try to move to open class, and when I get good there, move to rally. Then after rally, maybe you should move to F3. If not, then WRC. Yeah, so F3, F2, then F1, hopefully. And then WRC. If that doesn't work, WRC. If that doesn't work, then I'll be a golfer. And if that doesn't work, then
you'll become a what?
I'll become a rally driver.
Anyway, petrol looks like it's the way for you. Kiana,
yeah.
What's the progression that you like to see yourself go through as you go up the classes?
As you can see, this time I made history of being the first female driver in PB class. So next year and the future above me, I hope to become a female WRC professional driver.
Wow. From the local scene, from the drivers that we've got, Maxine was also participating in the Autocross this season alongside rallying. And what is it that you're picking from the women who are competing in these events?
I don't really know her that much, but I think she won the championship. I'm not sure, but she came new this season, so I think she's also gonna make history in her class if she won the championship.
Yeah. Maxine's a very good driver. I think she's Kiana gets some of her inspiration by her. She drives really well, and yeah.
And looking at the possibilities that are there for you, Yuvraj, you want to move to single seat driving. Normally, we see people, if they decide to stick to single seat, they stay there for long before moving on to these other cars. I'll give the case of Jeremy Wahome. He was doing single seat driving before coming into rally.
No, well, of course.
Who are your people who inspire you in single seat?
In single seat, I really like Lewis Hamilton. He just yesterday I didn't sleep. I watched his race. Now he's on draw with Max Verstappen, which is my rival also. And when my dad used to drive an my dad used to drive an Attacker. I think it was a turbo starlet engine. He also inspired me to get a attacker, and Wayne Fernandez, my team manager, he drives a quad bike, which is really scary. I don't know how he manages it.
What's the whole story about quad bikes that you wonder, because you've mentioned it a lot anytime Wayne's mentioned in his quads?
So, as you know, Yuvi got hurt, and I think Yuvi's just got the fear from riding quad bikes. But every time we go to Naivasha, and Wayne always brings his quad bike, Yuvi always like, okay, can I drive that now? And then Wayne is like, oh, you're too young for this. So maybe you heard what happened last time to you. So let's not do that today. So then, so I think Yuvi's got that fear. But I used to have another quad bike, but I used to go very slowly because I hadn't started. I was like about when I was 4, when just before I started practicing, I rode a quad bike, and it was pretty fun. But I was going so slowly, and UV here all the way was.
I think my dad didn't want me to ride a quad bike because of the injuries. Let me give an example of Nikhil Tychana.
Yes, I know Nikhil.
Yeah, he's a really good rally driver now. Because of his accident, my dad got really scared of me to drive. But now he's a really good driver, Nikhil Tychana. He drives a Evo.
An Evo 10, drives 100% by hand.
He's really good. I think he also inspires me.
Very, very well. Now, we've got the buggy here with us in studio, and the safety features that we have on this buggy. For example, you can see that you're dressed like any other rally driver. You've got your gloves, you've got your helmet. What other safety features do we have on the buggy?
So we have the safety belt, which helps you a lot when you roll or something like that. And we have the fire extinguisher, 2 of them. But they're not here now, obviously. So we also have the emergency brake and the key, the cutoff.
What do you use the emergency brake for?
So just in case like you're going too fast, and for example something's crossing the road or something like that, or just there's a rock that falls and you can't pass through it, or just something like that, then you just press it, and then that's how you use it for.
All right, so let's come to you, Yuvraj. Other safety, I've seen something that he puts on the shoulders, the head and neck support device, the hands. Tell us about all those and their functions and how you use this device, the helmet.
So this is my helmet. It is a Bell helmet. So I added I don't know what is this called. It adds more aerodynamic to the helmet, and I just added some stickers here. And then I have the sun protecting visor. It helps, like, let's say you're driving and the sun is shining on your face,
and also dust.
You don't need to open it and block yourself. This automatically does that. And then there's the scoop, which we put on cars, but it helps with air ventilation. Also with these vents over here. So this, I won 3 championships with this.
Well, it's legendary. Well, speaking with Yuvraj Rajput and his younger sister Kiana Rajput, both champions in the Pee-wee class for Kiana and for Yuvraj in the Bambino class. Well, this is Sports Check on this Monday morning, and we are in conversation with 2 young national championships, siblings, and it's a whole series of title collection as far as the family is concerned. Their father has won the open class, but we've got the first female winner of the Pee-wee class of the National Autocross Championship, Kiana Rajput. She's here, and her older brother Yuvraj Rajput, he won the Bambino class. Now, at the moment, and for you, when it comes to motorsport, I'll start with you, Yuvraj. How has it developed you as a person, not just as a driver, but as a person?
Okay, well, motorsport, as a person, I think I'd be really bored without motorsport. But of course, you need to be focused on school and stuff. I think this motorsport, it made me more like encourage myself in school to get better results and to get faster buggies. And yeah.
Okay.
Because like normally every time I go to Mombasa, when I was very very young, I never used to swim. I always used to go on the jet skis and stuff. Because like if there's any sign of motor engines, I have to ride it.
For you, Kiana?
So when I'm like UV, but sometimes all UV talks about is just can we go practicing? Can we do this? So how much CC does this have? So what? How fast is this? So what? So is my attacker fixed? So blah blah blah. All about engines. Everything he talks about, even his drama stories, all about racing. So every time when we go to Mombasa, always doing jet skis and all those stuff. And like I'm into horse riding, so UV's into motorsports. I'm into horse riding, but also I like both of them too. But he is just, everything he talks about is just about cars and all these stuff.
Okay, now at least now we know your brother very well. How has getting into autocross helped you grow as an individual in school, with your friends and all that?
So so I like racing during the holidays because it's better, because every time I used to get home a bit late and I used to get tired during school. So like motocross has inspired me. I mean, autocross has inspired me by during all. I'm like UV. I wrote about my future in my storybook. So in my drama, and I got everything right because of the details and all those stuff. So it's helped me a lot, and it's just really fun. I don't. As UV said, it'll be very boring without cars and all those stuff.
Fun fact, on her drama play, she copied my idea on my cards. Okay, so okay, I hope our teachers are watching this. I hope our teachers are watching this. Premier teachers, she copied my idea and she passed.
It's Kenya Innovation Week, and this is what I'm hearing. No, I won't accept that. But anyway, as we close this interview, Yuvraj, who do you want to thank for where you've reached as far as a competitor?
I'd like to thank my dad for getting me into the sport, my team manager Wayne Fernandez for helping me like organizing all the events, and the person that fixes all our buggies, my mechanic, Chris. Thank you, Chris.
Now, and who would you like to thank?
I would like to thank KCB and all these people who are sponsoring the autocross and for making us join and all these stuff. I'd like to thank my dad and my brother for giving me inspiration, and my team manager Wayne for taking us to practice and all those stuff, and my mechanic who saved my buggy for my last race. And I would also like to thank the family for motivating me, and my friends, and just my family.
To the competition in the coming season, what's your word to them?
Girls, this sport is not only for boys. As you can see, Maxine is joined, I have joined, and some few other girls have joined.
Hanifa is there.
Yeah. So this sports will actually be better if girls join, because all these boys talk about is, okay, how much faster was I between that guy, how many minutes was I faster between that guy, and girls just worry about okay it's fine if I won, but that guy also tried. But these boys just all they think about is just winning and these points and all those stuff. So I think girls, you should really join this sport, and it would be very fun to have competition.
You want competition, but you don't want the points. Yuvi.
Okay, so for all the girls and boys that want to join, anything is possible. You just need to work hard.
Thank you very much. Yuvraj Rajput, thank you very much. Champion in the Bambino class in the 2021 Autocross season and was in all the events and finished twice, only second. Kiana Rajput, first female winner of the PE class, and thank you very much for being with us today and also for letting us have the buggy in studio today. There was a little bit of noise and you know what? You're welcome again next season and we wish you all the best.
Thanks.
We'll be taking a short break right now and when we get back, let's have a conversation about rugby, the Dubai Sevens, the Kenya Cup and the Women's Kenya Cup with Michael Kwambo.